There is something special about Canadian television. It's probably the fact that the government requires at least 55% of all programming shown in the country to be made there, so there is an incentive to make a lot of it. I find a lot of it charming, and it's always fun to find out that some show you've never heard of has been running for 16 seasons. They have a lot of liberty to do whatever they want, but not necessarily the budget to do so. For example, The Adventures of Shirley Holmes, a show aimed at children about the adventures of the great-grandniece of Sherlock Holmes, who found his mystery box and inherited his autism. Deductive reasoning. This show is a lot of goofy fun, low-stakes adventures in a cartoon world centered around the most precocious of children, preteens. And while it is frequently kinda stupid, with confusing motivations, it's pretty entertaining to watch in small doses. Shirley Holmes is just a normal preteen girl who lives in Redington, Canada with her English diplomat father and her enigmatic gran. Her mother unfortunately went missing in Rwanda some years ago, but Shirley's holding out hope that she's still alive. She attends the Sussex Academy, run by the straight-laced Miss Stratman. Her best friend is Beau Sawchuck, her Guy Friday who keeps her in check, and she gets along well with most of the other students. Alicia, a normal girl, Bart, a conspiracy dork, Stink, a prankster, Parker, a redhead. There is one student who she has a conflict with, and that is Molly Hardy, her evil nemesis who is always up to something nefarious. I love Molly Hardy. The actor does a great job playing the character, and what a character. The overachieving rich girl who is also a criminal mastermind is perfectly realized. And while the name is kinda goofy, Molly Hardy, Moriarty, just spelling it out in case you missed it, every time she is on screen I want to know what she is up to. Which character is she actively mocking like Chloe? How is she obviously behind whatever weirdness is happening in the main plot? How does she have the power to fire the dean? So to show you why she's so fascinating, here's every scheme that we see her involved in on screen by season. We first meet Molly during the most middle school thing ever, a bunch of people giving speeches for the upcoming student election. Such intense stakes. The two teams running are Stink with running mate Bart, and Alicia with running mate Molly. They are just about to give their speeches, but first we need to thank Molly's parents for allowing the school to display this cheap-ass looking ring that was apparently worn by the king during the signing of the Magna Carta. Just that ring, by itself, here in the middle school auditorium, and a glass box with a security system. Super normal thing, no need to think about it anymore. Let's get to those speeches. Oh no! Alicia's being electrified to death! She is saved by Molly and is resting when a stink bomb goes off in the auditorium and the ring goes missing. But how? The security system was airtight. So I guess that is also happening, but let's get back to the election stuff. That seems more important. Alicia is talking about her platform over the intercom and starts going on a monomaniacal rant about how she's going to kill all the teachers or something. It wasn't actually her. She's trapped in the aviary room and someone set up a tape to broadcast Alicia saying these things. Enough is enough. These pranks are getting out of control and Stink is forced to drop out of the race. Alicia was in mild danger twice, so she also is not interested in running anymore. So, for some reason, the teams swap. Now it's Bart and Stink running against Molly and Alicia. Meanwhile, Shirley is examining the tape, and after some pitch adjustment, comes to the conclusion that Molly is behind it all. She delivers a veiled threat to Molly, so Molly retaliates by planting the stolen ring in Shirley's locker. Luckily, Shirley returns the ring before the cops find it, but she has made an enemy of Molly, who succeeded in her dastardly plan to be elected class president. That was a lot of work to rig an election that she could have easily won. She is a rich, pretty, and smart transfer student. She could have just run normally and would have already had over half the school behind her. But whatever, she's evil, she's got to do schemes. Her next caper involves the students trading ghost stories before bed at the dorm. Shirley's a townie, but her family is out of town, so she's crashing in Alicia's room, much to Alicia's consternation. Stink is talking about a woman who died here 50 years ago, this very night, and is just getting his prank on. This guy loves to prank. It goes too far when there's a real eerie noise and Molly goes missing. Nobody seems that concerned. Shirley is just chasing this ghost story that turned out to just be an elopement. Nobody died, it was just drama. So, a ghost didn't spirit Molly away because there was no ghost. They find a secret room in the attic and the secret stairwell that connects multiple rooms in this co-ed dormitory. They break into Molly's room to discover she has a fax machine and had recently used that fax machine to book a room at the best hotel in town, I assume. She faked it. She faked the whole thing so she could take a spa day and see if her parents loved her. Turns out they don't, so that sucks. But Shirley ain't gonna spill the beans. Molly has a human side, sometimes. The two girls find themselves with the same goal when Miss Stratman falls in love with a con man, as going to leave the school and be replaced by a man whom Molly has previously disgraced. They both want to get her to break up with him, but Shirley feels compelled to save her heart by having him break up with her and disappear? I'm not exactly sure I agree with Shirley's reasoning here. If you knew that I was dating a con artist who had just asked me for a check for a significant amount of money, I would want to be privy to that information. Instead of waiting for an 11-year-old to successfully catfish this guy on AOL chat and then blackmail him with the help of her grandma so he can get away scot-free and continue to con women in other cities? Maybe just tell me, so I can be more cautious in the future. Anyway, Shirley and Molly can't just work together because they hate each other, and Shirley doesn't agree with Molly's methods, like paying some kid to run up to the guy and claim to be his child, which almost works. Just try that again. They are at a stalemate because they both have evidence the other was snooping. So Molly gives Shirley 2 days to get the job done. Otherwise, she's showing Miss Stratman the tapes.
I have something for you to hear. Please understand, I have only your best interest at heart.
How ominous.
This is so funny to me. Imagine if you were the principal of school and your star student came into your office unannounced and said this to you. Anyway, Shirley swapped all the evidence. Now Molly looks foolish. A point for Miss Holmes. We don't see a lot of Molly this season, only her just being real bitchy about a new transfer student who is secretly a princess, and an episode where all the kids are tromping around the woods for an orienteering race. She takes orienteering very seriously. She hasn't been idle though, as Beau's cousin's band is really taking off, able to get a few choice gigs after some cancellations. Shirley is suspicious though, because she's just a little paranoid, and turns out that crimes may have occurred. She found proof of soap in the oysters, and Zach keeps getting weird threats and flying off the handle about how much he hates this new song they have to play.
My promise is this, I will open the way, I will light the darkness if you let me.
What's going on?
We're still working on that one right now, so that's all you're gonna hear for now.
Well, the song eventually breaks his leg, and then the band loses its record deal and is officially over. Seems like Zach made a deal with the devil, a guy online named Y, who can make and break anyone, so you don't want to mess with him. All he had to do was sing that terrible song, but it was just so bad.
Until I heard the song, it was so bad, I couldn't...
Well, Zach's ready to expose Y to the world, but the lights go out just in time, and oh my god! I'm kidding. Of course it was Molly behind everything. She wrote that terrible song and made an acrostic for, I assume, narcissistic reasons. Shirley tells her off, but Molly is undeterred. She will be a prophet for this generation. Her culture blog is going places. Now Shirley has to be hyper-vigilant, because now that Molly is on the internet, she can spread her evil everywhere.
Now that Molly's operating on the internet, she can spread her evil anywhere. I don't know how I can stop her, but I know I have to. Whenever and wherever she shows up again.
Molly continues her evil schemes as Y by taking advantage of Stink's huge crush on her to get him to steal the test answers from the office, which gets him expelled.
They expelled me.
Stink is okay with it though, because now he can start his career as a stand-up comedian. She even wrote some material for him, which absolutely kills if you're 13.
Doesn't make any sense to me. You ditch too many classes, and they kick you out. It's like, thanks for saving me the trouble of ditching, man.
But why? What motive should she have to twist Stink around her little finger? Well, the stealing of the test answers was just a decoy. The real reason he broke in was that she needed him to swap out a letter on the desk. You see, Molly is working on an internship at the UN, and part of the process was a psychological evaluation, which she failed.
I've rarely met a sociopath so adept at feigning normalcy. But make no mistake, Miss Hardy's extremely dangerous.
Why, yes, Molly Hardy is a diagnosed sociopath and is doing all this to cover it up. So, did she kill the doctor? Like, the doctor is going to remember the evaluation. Just switching out the letter isn't going to solve this major issue. Alright, maybe she was planning to silence the doctor once she got to New York? but Shirley makes Molly withdraw her name from the program, saving the doctor's life. Then Molly breaks off contact with Stink, who is still expelled. We never see him after this episode. I'm going to assume he had a fairly successful career in Canadian comedy, and once guested on Stop Podcasting Yourself, in which he told Dave and Graham about his hilarious pranks. Molly gets her revenge for this, almost, when she tricks Shirley into breaking into the museum's vault right before it was about to be visited by her father, which would require an explanation and the end of her snooping career. Luckily, her friends learned how to detective and got her out in time, but I want to walk you through the plan and how it required a lot of logical leaps on both of their parts to set this up. Step 1. Leave a cryptic message for Shirley, supposedly from her grandmother, that will lead her to a craft shop where a hired actor wearing grand shawl and a mask laughs eerily and leaves her an unusual clue after disappearing in a puff of smoke. Step 2. Hope that Shirley gets on the bus as intended, then call another paid actor on the bus and play her a message implying that Gran had been kidnapped and Shirley needs to follow the instructions to save her. Gran is fine, she is participating in the fun run. Step 3. Have a third paid actor identify and mark Shirley as she arrives at the fun run, the same fun run that Gran is currently attending. Step 4. Have a random child hand her a box that contains today's newspaper, Gran's watch, a code on a sheet of paper, and a snake, which leads Shirley to immediately jump to the conclusion that the kidnappers want her to steal from the museum. Step 5. Wait for Shirley to break into the museum's vault, because of course that's exactly what she would do after receiving the snake box. Have the first paid actor shut the vault door behind her, trapping her inside. Step 6. Gloat. I mean, when you think about it, it's the perfect plan to trap Shirley, because she loves a puzzle and breaking and entering. But she had to pay a lot of people for this, and there were a lot of points of failure. What if she missed the bus? What if she didn't figure out the snake box? What if she saw Gran in the park because they were at the park at the same time? Molly also spars with Bo when she plans to publish an article in the student paper about one of Bo's old friends who might have been involved in a murder 3 years ago. This feels like something that the advisor would shut down. The kid in question doesn't go to the school. It is based purely on hearsay, and she didn't attempt to interview the subject. But considering that Molly's on the school board with the power to vote on firings and expulsions, she can probably do whatever she wants. So, Bo and Bart infect the school paper computer with a virus to stop the story, which causes her to scream bloody murder and toss it out a second-story window. A bit of an overreaction, but she gets revenge by sending a letter to the editor of the local paper, which leads Bo to try to throw a wrench in the works. They get caught and the police are called, but Shirley bonds with the editor and turns out the kid actually left a tip which was misplaced, so he's the opposite of a criminal and everything turned out fine. For completeness sake, I will also mention this episode where a writer of a tell-all book is being targeted by extremely unlikely assassination attempts, including what Shirley identifies as a deadly trapdoor spider when this is clearly just a tarantula. That doesn't even make sense. Trapdoor spiders aren't toxic to humans. Do better research, Shirley. Anyway, this woman was hired to pose as the author and went a little overboard in the promotion. Now the actual author wants to murder her. Molly hires her for her fundraiser, so she insists the woman continue the charade, and she gives her some great advice.
Just do what I do. Imagine everyone in the audience is dead.
Diagnosed sociopath. In our final season, we don't really see any plotting from Molly. I'm assuming she's doing a crime sabbatical, just fortifying her resources, gathering data, trying out a more mature look, because she knows she is very close to being able to pose as an adult, and then she could really do some diabolical shit. Unfortunately, this gets the attention of a weirdo named Anton, who thinks himself a Greek god and her his Hera. He's hatched a very strange plan where a shell company provides struggling private schools with calculators and computers on the condition that they don't teach math. Then, he privately recruits all the math whizzes he could find, including the winner of this rinky-dink quiz show who was clearly cheating the entire time, and trap them in a private compound where they learn all the best math. Also, for some reason, he poses as a student in the academy, I guess to spy on everyone. Anyway, this plan falls apart when Bo infiltrates the school, and the dean of the academy loads all the genius children in a van and tries to flee the police. But Zeus, as Anton calls himself, manages to escape and is still plowing forward with his no math in schools idea. So, while Shirley handles her investigation with this boy she likes, Bo stages a sit-in at the school to get them to teach math again. This gets him and Bart kidnapped, because if it is one thing this kid knows how to do, is convince adults to kidnap children for him. He has Molly kidnapped too, because she won a math contest and demands praise for it.
Spies on. Congratulate me. I just won the Bronowski World Prize for Mathematics. It's official. I'm a genius.
And also because she would make the perfect bride, because that's apparently what this creep is into. Molly is, if anything, just annoyed at this terrible situation. Luckily, Bart befriends a sentient AI that Zeus invented and connects her to the internet, so she realizes that maybe a math empire is a stupid idea, and this weird kid's terrible plan has been foiled. You see, this is why you need to have Molly as the secret villain behind all the plots. These other kid villains just can't cut the mustard. The Zeus mini arc was so dumb. As a sweet touch, the last time we see Molly is when we discover she is, deep down, a horse girl. She has just received terrible news that her horse Foxglove probably has rabies, and so he needs to be put down. But Bo doesn't see anything wrong with the horse, and a quick inspection finds that there is red moss in the hay. Someone is trying to get this horse killed, probably to win the event. So Shirley hides the horse, which infuriates Molly. Stop playing with her heart. Molly's little friend who emulates her tells her that she knows where the horse is hidden, then locks her into the shed and does, well, this.
Elise, what would I want with Foxglove when I have the fox? London Bridge is burning down, burning down, burning down.
Elise! What are you doing?
Down, my fair lady.
So that escalated quickly, but she gets saved and the girl gets sent to a home for disturbed children. But Foxglove is okay, and Molly wins the event. You know what? She earned this one. She loves that horse. So there's all the Molly Hardy schemes that we are aware of. Frankly, not enough. There was not enough Molly Hardy in this show. They should have gone to summer camp together and toppled off a waterfall over some contrived disagreement. Or at least some kind of luring on to the final confrontation in Season 4, because it was obvious that Season 5 was not in the cards. These children are getting too old for these hijinks. And while a pivot teen drama might have been fun to watch, I don't think the team had it in them. They were not great at writing romance. I can't even remember the name of the cowboy that Shirley kisses. He is so forgettable for being a hypergenius emancipated 14-year-old who was kidnapped by a far-reaching math conspiracy and who has devoted his life to stopping it. Again, why was the Zeus mini-arc? What is happening? Anyway, Molly Hardy is amazing, high point of the show. The rest is enjoyable in a more ironic way. The plots often don't make sense, the show looks very cheap, and while I enjoy the comedic stylings of Colin Fox, it's a bit cornball. A slight recommend if you're into lo-fi wacky detective stories with just a dash of poutine. Just be prepared for silly things like Alicia getting possessed by a ghost and trying to kill Mr. Howie. Speaking of ghosts, it is spooky season, so it is finally time to tell you all about ghosts. The American ghosts. It's better than you think. The mythology of ghosts, next time.
Hamilton.
How do you know about Hamilton?
What do you want?
Leave him, kill yourself, become a ghost, and get with me.
No.
This is not the new system.